Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to the Taqwa podcast. We are now in episode 8, week 3, term 2 of 2023 at the Taqwa House Madrasa. Alhamdulillah, we are now in week 3, and every term 2, we talk about Ramadan and charity. But before we go into the topic of discussion during the madrasa, we had a very busy weekend.
Yes, alhamdulillah. On Sunday was Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And our cafe was, alhamdulillah, very busy.
Yeah, I think it was our best, our second best day since we opened about 2 months ago. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. And I hope the mums enjoyed the caramel macchiato cheesecake that was given free.
Yeah, every mom
to
or
all
every
mums.
mother gets free caramel macchiato cheesecake with every purchase. Alhamdulillah. And it wasn't just that, the cafe was running lean on that day because we had the reception of Omar and Diva.
Yeah.
Omar and Diva part of the Koswa crew, and Diva manages the cafe. Yeah.
So alhamdulillah, it was a beautiful event.
Yeah.
It's really nice to see the Koswa crew getting married and starting a family.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. And I keep getting questions from parents. Well, not part of the Koswa crew, but other parents were like, the crew are getting married one by one. You have someone for my daughter? Can you recommend someone for my son? I think just putting out there, we don't do matrimony service. The crew, they found their own spouses, and we support once. I mean, they come to us once they found someone, we help them, help them where we can.
Yeah, and we want their spouses to come and be comfortable, and also maybe when they join the crew, part of the family.
Part of the family. All right, so before we move on to the topic of the week, I got a question from one of our customers at the cafe, who's also a listener of our podcast. So last week, we spoke about how we do Ramadan. And when we talked about Ramadan and fast and the Tarawih prayers, we spoke about rewarding children. We gave them $2, $1.50 or $2 per night, depending on how many raka'at they pray. And then the Ramadan challenge that gets them a coupon for a free meal, dessert, and drink. And also the program that we did with Masjid Al-Latif, and we're still ongoing with Masjid Al-Latif. 25 prayers gets them a free drink. So one of the customers asked me, where do you draw the line between the extrinsic reward and the intrinsic reward? External reward being money, and then internal reward being their own pure sincere intention. Now, what's going to happen when the money runs out or they grow up? So how do you manage that reward concept?
Yeah. So oftentimes when we talk about reward and punishment, so all of these are things that help develop a behavior or help reduce a behavior that you don't like. So external rewards such as food, drink, money, presents, toys, those are all quite strong rewards, strong reinforcers, where the children, animals, adults even, actually can see that, and it becomes a very strong motivation for them to do something. And generally you start doing that if you're trying to create a behavior. You're trying to, from a non-existent behavior, and you want to make that behavior continue. So, for example, if that child isn't praying and you want to start getting the child to pray, you start with extrinsic rewards. However, usually when you do extrinsic rewards, with humans, because we are thinking beings, we have feelings, and also that free will, the choice to do or not to do. The extrinsic reward has to be accompanied by nice words, by motivational words, by intrinsic things that the child can internalize.
But isn't praises, those kind of those words are also considered reward?
Yeah, so they are extrinsic rewards, but words and phrases can be internalized by the child.
Alright.
So it can then be repeated on their own. So if you see like a young child, right? So if a young child is playing, let's say, Lego, and then the mom or the dad goes to the child and says, oh, wow, that's a really good Lego. You're a good builder. Well done. Give me a high five. You know, that's extrinsic reward. But then you see the next day, the child playing on her own and then go, I'm a good builder. You know?
Yes.
So that means it has been internalized. So what has been modeled to the child then becomes internalized. So when we do extrinsic rewards, it's important to model that behavior. So all the adults are praying as well. We're not just asking the child to pray and rewarding them. And you accompany that with kind words. So, you know, like when you were giving the $1, you asked them, well, how many rak'ah did you pray? And they said, 4 Isha and 4 Tarawih. And you say, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, that's so good. That's better than yesterday. You know, so you were putting words at that, you know, so that actually helps build it to intrinsic. So usually when we have short contact hours with a child, like you only have 2 hours with a child, you know, you have short periods, you only have Ramadan with a child, you use a lot of extrinsic rewards because that's the quickest way that you can build behavior.
And you also build memories, long-lasting, pleasant memories of coming to the masjid and praying.
And then, but if you've got time, like you're the parent and you're at home, you start with extrinsic, you put all the praises, and then the child will slowly learn to internalize through the
you
modeling.
Start by giving them something tangible, and then you reduce over time?
Yes, yeah.
All right.
So most of the time, extrinsic rewards can be reduced over time. Once the habit is already formed, then you can just give it intermittently. Yeah, so, and also if you're doing these rewards at home, don't think along that it has to be something, a thing. It doesn't need to be a thing or money. It can be an experience. So for example, if you let's say a parent tells a child, if you pray all 5 for a week, on the weekend we will go to a park of your choice, or we will go, you know, and do something that you want. So it can be an experience. So then that becomes such a positive memory for the child. Like, you know, not only did I pray, but I also got to spend time with my parents. So there's a lot of ways that we can do extrinsic rewards. But when we are doing like a mass, everyone, all the children, it's easiest with an object like money or toys or food and drink.
So the take home is for parents, continue the prayers at home. And maybe you can still have your extrinsic reward, but taper it over time. So if, let's say, every prayer, like we did in Ramadan, every 4 rak'at gets them 50 cents. It could be now, then every 1 day of full prayer, which is 17 rak'at, gets them maybe 50 cents or $1. And then it goes every week that you accomplish something, then you get something.
And also it was quite interesting, like for our kids, when they got the money, for Salma, who was only 5, and Sakina, who's 8, so they got rewarded for praying, right? But they came back straight and put the money in the charity box, because they said like, and they said that I prayed because I wanted to earn this money to put it in charity.
I remember Sakina was trying to convince Salma to put money in the charity, and Salma being 5, she was like, but then I won't get any money, I'll lose my money. And then Sakina was saying, but Allah will reward you more by everything that you give. Allah will reward you at least 10 times and even more than that. And it was very interesting to see how our children flourished, alhamdulillah. So they prayed, they got the money, and they gave to charity. Even Sumaya was working hard in the cafe to earn, and then she was making sure that she wanted to make sure that she gets her pay before the last 10 nights of Ramadan, because she said, I'm going to give part of it to charity, and it has to, if I get paid before Ramadan, then I get quite a lot of money to give. Alhamdulillah. So that is the reward and system that we use, an explanation how maybe you can apply it at home post Ramadan. Now back to our syllabus, Ramadan and the month of charity. we spoke about. I think the topic was the points that we wanted to discuss and teach the students is about patience and gratitude, because in Ramadan you learn both of that. How did you handle it with the younger children?
So, like with the younger children, because we they do know all the like fasting and charity, but because they're just also so young, you know, talking about 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds, they can't really fast. And they can't really
They
do.
don't have money to give to charity. I mean, the concept of charity is usually
It's usually there. So we did talk a lot about using their hands, and we said, like, you know, having helping hands is an act of charity. Having a nice face and good words and those kind words, those are acts of charity. So we gave them so we went around and had examples of, you know, what are kind words to say to your parents, what are kind words to say to your friends, what are helping things you can do at home, helping things you can do at school, those kind of things. So things that suits them. But also we talked about, we had a comparison of what they have and what other children in the poorer countries have. And I think for children, they really need that visual to actually see how much they have. Because even for us, it's very easy to forget about all the blessings that we have. It's just expected. You know, like we expect that every morning we wake up, we'll get a coffee or we'll get a breakfast, you know.
Comfort creep.
That
we are.
You know. But so many people around the world wake up to no breakfast and no hot beverage. You know, they wake up in the freezing cold and there's no certainty of getting anything. So with the younger children, I actually did a compare and contrast. So I said, okay, now tell me what you have in your classroom at school. So they would list down everything they have, you know, their smart board, the tables, the art and craft supplies, the iPads, and all of the gizmos in their school. And I took a photo of the, you know, usual classroom in Australia, and I showed them a classroom in Somalia. And how did it look like? You know, I said, like, see, both of these children are 5 years old, and both of them are in school. But look at the classroom in Somalia and look at the classroom in Australia. How different is this? How much do you have and how little do they have? So you've got to be very thankful. And how do you show your your thankfulness? So, like, you know, saying Alhamdulillah, using things wisely, not wasting, and, you know, those kind of things that came to them. So then I showed them like pictures of of water, like, you know, how we just open the tap. And I showed them photos of children carrying water on their heads and having to walk so far just to have drinking water. And I showed them the color of the water, you know, like what color is our water, what color is their water. And having clean drinking water is not, many of the people around the world do not have it. So, and a lot of them, actually, that was their first time looking at those photos.
Did you share with them about the well that Koswa built?
No, I haven't mentioned the water well. I should. It would be still running. Inshallah. And with then I also spoke to them about, you know, being thankful about the food that they have, about the toys that they have. Like, you know, they're just so spoiled for choice. We went around saying, like, what did everyone have for breakfast? What did everyone have for lunch? And I said, like, is there some food that you don't like? And then they raised their hand and started naming a lot of vegetables. And then, you know, we're talking about, see, like, a lot of children don't even have a choice of what they eat, and you have a choice. Like, you know, at breakfast, your mom will ask you, do you want cereal or toast? You know, so you actually have a choice. So you should eat all your healthy food.
Cereal or toast? It's going to be the third choice. That's not in the menu.
So, you know, so those kind of things, I think it's quite important to teach the children to be thankful and not complain so much, and be, you know, happy with what they have and take care of their things. I think we are living in Australia where toys are just everywhere, and they come back with a party bag, and the next day it's not played with anymore, and then it fills the landfill. So, you know, those kind of things. But what was nice as well, it was raining really heavily on that Saturday. So we talked a lot about rain and how rain is a blessing, and how much good comes from rain. So it was the first time also children learned that rice comes from paddy
Yeah.
and bread comes from wheat, and these are plants.
Yeah.
So
They require water and it benefits from the rain.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a lovely class, and I think they got that
Yeah.
concept, and I think it's very important to have the visual reminders. When I was little, we watch news, right? And there's always these pictures, right? Images
Yeah.
of countries, war-torn countries. But with the advent of the internet and news on their mobile phones, children don't really watch news very much.
True. Yeah.
So they don't actually have that visual
Yeah.
unless we explicitly show
them.
it to them. So I think that's a good reminder, I think, for me, and I think for parents to, if your child has never seen
Yep.
images of poor children, they cannot imagine how poor is poor.
Yeah. So did you manage to talk about sabr, about patience, and
Yes, so we did talk about sabr as well, like so how if things don't go your way, you should be patient, or if you don't get something that you really want, how you should be patient about it. If something like bad happens to you and you feel sad, how we should be patient. Yeah, but we mostly talked, I think, about shukr, because that did take a lot of time. So I think sabr is something that we touched on, but it has to be continued. Yeah.
Okay.
And what about the older?
Yeah. So we started about the two happiness that the Prophet mentioned for people who fast. The sa'imi farhatan. The person that fasts will enjoy two kinds of happiness, and the Prophet said it's during iftar and when we meet Allah in the akhirah. Now, the thing about happiness during iftar is because we know that we have food. There are people in the world that do not know there's no food security, that they're going to have something to eat during iftar or even during Eid al-Fitr. And this is why Islam makes Zakat al-Fitr compulsory in Ramadan, so that everyone has something nice to eat on the day of Eid. So we spoke about how the concept of zakat, the two types of zakat, zakat al-fitr and zakat al-mal, and we also spoke about, especially with the bigger kids, the year 5, year 6s, about zakat being only 2.5%, zakat al-mal 2.5%. But 2.5%, although it is insignificant, if you have $1,000, it is only $25. It's so small. But the impact, if everyone gives zakat, it's going to be massive. And we spoke about the wealthiest people in the world. We took an example of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is worth $300 billion, $250 billion. 2.5% of his zakat is around $6-7 billion. And it's interesting, the UN published a report saying that $6 billion would solve food insecurity in the entire world. So everyone that is starving gets to eat a decent meal for a year, only $6 billion. Of course, a hypothetical situation, Elon Musk won't be paying $6 billion in zakat, because it's not everything, that there are conditions and so on, whether you have control over it, if it's stocks and so on. But even if it's not him, just a few people, 1% of the population's the richest humans, if they were to pay their zakat, it would have solved world hunger altogether. So now it's not the point of that discussion is not to point finger like, see, the rich are not doing anything. It's just to say never underestimate the power of that 2.5%. Your 2.5% it may be small to you, but can mean a lot to someone else. $1,000, 25%, 2.5% is $25. That $25 in Australia, yes, it doesn't get you much. But in some countries in the world, that's a month of food. I remember we just talking to Brother Salah the other day. Salah is one of our very good friends as well. Just got married last week. He instead of wedding gifts, he requested that people donate the money to sponsor an orphan in Gaza. And he was saying that $300 is enough to sponsor an entire family. That means if a family of 5 is $300, $60 gets one person an entire month. This is not just food. This is food, water, education, and everything. So you're talking when you look at that, that means that $25 is actually a lot of money. We take it for granted. We forget about, again, your point about gratitude. Or that there's certain things that we take for granted. And we spoke about this Sabr and Shukr, and Sabr and Shukr, I think it's going to be a running theme of everything. That's why we also have that Shukr and Sabr artwork done by our former students. It's a twin thing, Dana and Dania. You can find them on Instagram. It's a twin thing. You can custom your own artwork, beautiful like that. But this Shukr and Sabr is a running theme because those are two powerful tools that take us can help us go through every challenge in life.
Yeah, because there's always something to be thankful for. We look for it.
Yeah.
And things that don't go your way, there's always patience.
Yeah. And when you have sabr and shukr, you're always going to be happy. Because when things don't go your way, you're patient. But you know when you're patient, Allah will reward you for your patience. Things go your way, you're grateful. You have an easy life. Because you're grateful, Allah will reward you for it, and you will also get to enter Jannah. These are two powerful tools that allows us to enter Jannah. And fasting teaches us both at the same time. Because during the day, we have to be patient. We are hungry. We are thirsty. You go to school, you see your friends who are not fasting, and they're eating and drinking. And some of the students play sports while fasting. You have to be patient. And then at the end of the day, you get to break fast. Beautiful food, lovely drinks. That's gratitude. So you learn sabr and shukr in every single day in the month of Ramadan. But blessing is not just about, this gratitude is not just about things that are happening to you. For instance, food or money or toys. But we've got blessings that Allah says, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you try to enumerate the blessings that Allah has given you, you'll never be able to count them. Because let's look at our existence. We exist as human beings. That is a great blessing in itself. That's why we get to enjoy the variety of food. Sheikh Hamza Yusuf gave an example. If you were created as a dung beetle, or you were born in cow dung, you die in cow dung, and you consume cow dung. That's the only thing that the fact that He created us as humans, that's something that we should be grateful about. And then we've got the way He designed us. Our nostrils, and it's because it's raining, our nostrils is designed pointing downwards. It's pointing upwards. We can't play in the rain because then we'll have a pool in our nose. So those kind of things, that there's so many things, just go through ourselves. Allah says, وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. Just in yourself, don't you see it? So we don't have to go external, just go into ourselves. It's just
so like with the younger children, we definitely went through that with their bodies, and, like having all their bodies working, and things like that.
This opposable thumbs is just a great gift. And then the metaphor that we use is the two caps, that you've got a shukr cap, you've got a sabr cap. So if you if you're happy with what's happening, put on your shukr cap. Don't be arrogant. Be thankful to Allah. If things don't go your way, put on your sabr cap. Be patient. Allah will reward you. The example we gave is you have to do chores at home. I don't think people like doing chores. No one likes doing chores. But your parents tell you to do chores. Instead of being grumpy and being rude, put on your sabr cap. Do the chores. You're going to have to do it anyway. Do the chores. Smile. And Allah will reward you for it. And this change of perspective, I think, is really, in a lot of things that happen in us, we have the choice to be happy or to be sad about it, to be angry about it. It's our choice. And what happened was, at the cafe, we hire Kosovo High students, and on weekends, those who meet the criteria, the minimum age, they apply and they come and work. And we had Sumaya working, and then we have Alia, and then we had another hire last Saturday. And because Alia was the most junior hire, she tends to have to do
the dishes.
And no one likes doing the dishes. And then we had a new hire, and I told the boy that we are hiring. I said, "You're coming in today, aren't you?" He said, "Yeah, I'm coming in." And I was like, "Yeah, someone new coming, and you can do dishes now." And the class mocked him, "You're going to just work as a dishwasher? You're going to do all these dishes?" And this boy was like, "What's wrong with it? I have to do dishes at home. I don't get paid." Now I'm going to do dishes and get paid. I'm happy. Like, see, it's just a change of perspective. Yeah, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But to him, I get paid paying dishes. Alhamdulillah, and he's happy. And he came. He was a legend on that day. Our cook Muhammad was so impressed by him. Inshallah. So we're saying about these two caps are the tools that we that guides us to get to taqwa, to equip us to get to taqwa in everything that we do. Then we moved on that the best way to express our gratitude is to charity, and then we discussed also about why is there imbalance in this world. Some people are rich, some people are poor. Now, Islam does not advocate equality on everyone. We've got spiritual equality that before Allah we're all equal, but in this world it's never going to be equal. If it's equal, there's a saying that in the Arabic, you will find this in some of our scholars saying it, quoting it, that humanity will be in goodness for as long as they are different. The moment you see equality, you'll see destruction. And we see that there are movements in history that try to force equality. This is the communist movement, and we see the failure of the communist movement. Because if everybody, whether you work or you don't work, you get equal pay. Whether you're smart or you're not smart, you get equal grade. Eventually, no one wants to work, no one wants to study, no one gets anything out of it. So that equality is what makes society moves. And equality is also opportunity to enter Jannah, so that the rich, you have the opportunity to give charity to the poor, and the poor, you have the opportunity to be patient with the challenges that Allah has afflicted on you. So when you see inequality in society, we're not supposed to be jealous. We're supposed to look at it from an Islamic lens, an Islamic worldview, where these are all opportunities to enter Jannah. Of course, extreme inequality like what we see in this world today is something that Islam highly discourages, because you find Islam has a concept. It's not communistic in the sense that everybody is equal, but it is not capitalistic in the sense that everybody fend for themselves. You've got Zakat, 2.5% that you have to help. And also you have land ownership in Islam. Classic Islamic law is very different from modern Islamic law. You cannot hoard land and not cultivate it. Government has the right to seize lands that have not been cultivated to avoid people from hoarding land and doing nothing, becoming landowners. And that's what we see today. A lot of the old money, they are landowners, they don't do anything about it. They don't intend to, they just hold the land. So Islam preaches against extreme inequality like what we see, but also doesn't
encourage communism.
Everything is equal. That's also wrong. There must be rich and poor. Even the best of times, during the time of Sahaba, we had rich Sahaba, we had poor Sahaba. They ate together, they fought together, they played together, they slept together, they prayed together. There's differences of wealth. Doesn't mean one is more honorable than the other. You have Abu Bakr, who was not rich. He was rich before Islam and became Muslim and spent most of his wealth. But he wasn't poor, but he wasn't rich. And then you have Ali ibn Abi Talib, who was known as Abu Turab, father of dirt, because he was poor. Then you have Uthman, very rich. So you have Sahaba in various backgrounds, but they all lived together. So we ended what should we give and who should we give to? We say that start with giving extras, not what you can't use anymore because it's broken. What's still usable, still good condition, but you have extra. Toys, shoes, clothes. The best is give what you love most. This is the highest level of goodness. You give what you love. You've got 2 pairs of shoes that you're not using. Which one you love better? That's the one that you give to charity. That's a higher level of charity. And who should you give to? Always start at home. Your parents, your siblings, your family members, your neighbors, and those closest by blood and those closest by distance as well. And it grows. And then we ask the children to list down 3 things that they can do, acts of charity that they can do this week at home and also at school. 3 at home and 3 at school. Because charity is not just, like you said to the children, it's not just about money, but it's also about kindness, about helping. What can we do? Yeah, so those are the things that we spoke about.
Yeah, so inshallah, I think this week we'll look forward to trying to hear from the children of what acts of charity.
Yeah, what acts of charity that they have done and how the smile that they have while doing charity. Inshallah, we'll continue that discussion this week. Yeah. All right, so that's, I think, all that we've done. This week.
So all our notes are also on our class dojo. So it's uploaded usually on Monday. So if you have time, please have a read, then you know what the children would have to do as well at homes. And there's also continuity, I think, especially with younger children. Sometimes when we tell them in class, then they go home, they forget. But when they get reminded at home, they say, oh, yes, and it's just get recalled a little better.
Continuity is very important. Our contact hours with the children is just 2 hours a week. We can't do much within that 2 hours. We need parents to help and support. It takes a village to raise a child, and this is our village. We're in this together. Help. We will try our best to help the children and parents as well continue at home. All right, that's all for today. We'll see you next week, inshallah. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.